On the morning of October 7, 2023, the day after the 50th anniversary of the outbreak of the Yom Kippur War, and on Vladimir Putin's 71st birthday, Hamas launched a well-planned operation codenamed Al-Aqsa Flood. In a short time, Palestinian fighters managed to create chaos in the border areas of the Gaza Strip and to destroy many units of Israeli equipment. In this video, I will present the top 5 best Israeli weapons lost against Hamas. Let's get started. Number 5 is the Marava Mark II. The Marava Mark II was introduced into service in 1983, and it's a further development of the Marava Mark I, which was introduced 4 years earlier. The changes included, among others, improved armor, which resulted in an increase in weight from 62 to 63 tons, adaptation to mount a mine plow, increased fuel tank capacity, and modernization of the fire control system. The main armament, that is a 105mm M64 L71A gun, remain unchanged. However, despite the possibility of using Lahat anti-tank guided missiles, which can defeat up to 800mm of rolled homogeneous armor, it no longer guarantees the destruction of newer types of tanks, such as the Iranian Kar. For this reason, since 2016, most Marava Mark IIs have been no longer in use, and the last tank of this type were withdrawn in July 2020. Currently, they are used only as a training aid for technical staff who can thus become familiar with the vehicle. An interesting feature of the Marava series tanks is its 60mm mortar. In the case of the first variant, to operate it, you had to lean out the vehicle and expose yourself to enemy fire, while in the remaining variants, it's operated from inside. So far, 1 Marava Mark II has been destroyed, but another 3, in unknown condition, have fallen into Hamas hands. It must therefore be assumed that they were destroyed to prevent Israel from recapturing them. Interestingly, in September 2023, 1 disabled tank of this type was stolen from a training center near Haifa. The vehicle was found the next day at a nearby scrapyard and returned to the army. Number 4 is the Axit. The idea of using a tank chassis as a base for an armored personnel carrier is not new. An example of such a vehicle is the introduced into service in mid-1918 British Mark IX, which is based on the Mark V tank chassis, or examples of the rebuilding tanks such as Sherman, Churchill, Ram II, as well as the M7 Priest self-propelled howitzers using the Lee and Sherman tank chassis, which took place during the Second World War. The Axit was introduced into service in 1988 and was created by rebuilding T-54 and T-55 tanks captured by Israel during the Six-Day and Yom Kippur Wars. The changes included, among others, the removal of the turret to make room for 7 infantrymen and the separation of a corridor leading along the right side of the vehicle's hull, ending with a ramp that allows for relatively easy entrance and exit from the vehicle. The armament consists of 4 7.62 by 51mm FN Mag machine guns, including one that can be operated from inside the vehicle. Interestingly, the weight of the Axit increased by 8 tons compared to the original T-55 due to the addition of as much as 14 tons of extra armor. Thanks to this, according to the manufacturer, the Axit's frontal armor can withstand multiple hits of 125mm APF SDS rounds. Unfortunately, it's not known what kind of projectile was tested. According to the Military Balance 2023, Israel had 100 Axit armored personnel carriers. So far, about 15 of them have fallen into Hamas hands. It must therefore be assumed that they were destroyed to prevent Israel from recapturing them. Additionally, Israel also has lost 2 vehicles based on the Shot tank chassis, namely the Nakbadan. Interestingly, in addition to Israel, Serbia also introduced a similar vehicle into service, and unsuccessful attempts to convert the T-55s into armored personnel carriers were made in India, Ukraine, and Russia. Number 3 is the S65 C3 Yasser. The first helicopters of this type were ordered by Israel in 1967, and deliveries began on October 2, 1969. S65 Yasser is the Israeli designation for the Sikorsky CH-53D Sea Stallion transport helicopter, which was originally developed for the U.S. Marine Corps. The S65 Yasser is capable of carrying up to 38 armed soldiers or a payload of up to 3,630 kilograms. Alternatively, this can be converted into a 5,900 kilogram payload that is suspended under the helicopter. According to the World Air Force's 2023, before the war, Israel had 22 such helicopters. So far, one of them has been lost. The cause of the loss was an anti-tank guided missile, which hit the helicopter in the left engine. Interestingly, the pilot of the overloaded helicopter managed to land and nothing serious happened to the crew and the 50 soldiers on board. Immediately afterward, Hamas fighters destroyed the abandoned helicopter using a second anti-tank guided missile. Israel plans to begin phasing out S-65 Yasser helicopters by mid-decade. They are to be replaced by CH-53K King Stallion helicopters, deliveries of which will begin in 2026. Number 2 is the Neer. Introduced into service at the end of 2008, the Neer is another armored personnel carrier built on a tank chassis, but this time it's the chassis of the Marava Mark I. The strong point of the 60-ton Neer is its armor, which makes it currently the best protected armored personnel carrier in the world. Additionally, the Neers are equipped with the Trophy Active Protection System, which is designed to detect incoming threats, like grenades fired from RPG-7, and neutralize them using counter-projectiles before they hit the vehicle. In turn, the weak point of the Neer is its armament, which currently consists of a 7.62 by 51 mm FN Mag machine gun, a 60 mm mortar, and a remotely controlled turret equipped with a 12.7 mm machine gun, or a 40 mm grenade launcher. However, since 2024, Israel will equip the Neers with an unmanned turret armed with, among others, 30 mm cannon and Spike anti-tank guided missiles. Interestingly, in June 2023, the first examples of the Neer Mark II variant were delivered to the Israeli Armed Forces. They are equipped with a new 1,500 horsepower engine, improved armor, and electronic systems that increase the crew's situational awareness. According to the SIPRI Trade Register, 386 Neers have been delivered to the IDF, but according to the Military Balance 2023, only around 290 of them are in the Armored Personnel Carrier variant, and the rest are in specialized variants. So far, 24 Neers have fallen into Hamas hands. It must therefore be assumed that they were destroyed to prevent Israel from recapturing them. Number 1 is the Marava Mark IV. The production of the Marava Mark IV began in 2009. It's a further development of the Marava Mark IV introduced a few years earlier. The Marava Mark IV was equipped with, among others, the Trophy Active Protection System, which provides greater protection against threats like anti-tank guided missiles. The main armament of the Mark IV remained unchanged compared to the Mark IV and consists of a 120mm MG251 LR gun, which allows the use of the latest NATO programmable and anti-tank ammunition. Additionally, even though the tank weighs over 65 tons, thanks to its 1,500 horsepower engine, it's able to accelerate from 0 to 20 miles per hour in less than 10 seconds. This result is comparable with the latest versions of the Leopard 2. Before the war, Israel had 400 Marava Mark IV tanks. So far, 3 of them have been lost, but another 7, in unknown condition, fell into the hands of Hamas. It must therefore be assumed that they were destroyed to prevent Israel from recapturing them. Interestingly, in September 2023, the first 3 Marava Mark V tanks were delivered to the Israeli Armed Forces. They are equipped with new cutting-edge technology like the battlefield observation system using augmented reality solutions and systems using artificial intelligence. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Also, visit our second channel with military power comparisons. See you next time.